Are you ready for the future of indie filmmaking? You better be.
What?
Now then, we are the Don't Tell Show. We make and review independent, social realist, neo-realist, really realist realism sort of films. If that looks like your sort of thing, we put up a new video every Monday. Hit subscribe and we'll see you there. Chlorine is the feature film debut from folk filmmaker Dan Lotz. What's folk filmmaking, you may ask? Well, I'll tell you. Folk filmmaking is a growing movement of independent feature filmmakers who are bypassing traditional routes into the film industry by posting all of their content online for free. There's no thematic connection between the films, there's just an urge to speak directly to an audience without hindrance. Which I'm really feeling at the moment, because these are the sort of thoughts that I've been having for the last year while we've been running this channel, when we've been getting ready to go and film our own shorts, but COVID's held us back so far. So it's good that this has come along, and this is sort of spurring me on now to get these scripts ready to go as soon as we can start filming again. It's also what I was talking about in this video.
You're back in the game. You're back in the game, baby.
Anyway, Chlorine follows a retired hitman who's forced back into the game for a few final hits, which are weighing heavily on his mind. The thing you notice straight away about this film is that it doesn't look like you would expect a sort of no-budget, free-to-watch film to look. Because this is sort of the point of filmmaking now, is that the equipment has been now democratized to such a level that anyone can have a go at it, and anyone can create a beautiful image. Like this, or like this, or like this. There's one caveat to that though. You know, anyone can go out and make a film on a phone, but recording good sound is a lot more difficult and sometimes expensive. Luckily, this film has great clear sound throughout. And actually, he says in this interview that he kept it quite simple, so...
He didn't have anyone booming. Just put it on a tripod and just had it boom the whole scene.
Wow.
And somehow the audio turned out as clean as possible.
So sound isn't always that bigger problem, it just stresses me out. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. So the film looks glorious. Look at those shots. It has a very sun-drenched... I saw someone refer to it as a sun-drenched neo-noir, and I think that makes complete sense to me. There's a threat of violence from the get-go, but there's also a sort of melancholy there. One of the opening shots we see that someone very important to the people in the film has just passed, and it seems like they're sort of drifting along without this father figure, almost like the two-lane blacktoppers just cruising through this sort of hangover of the 60s. There's definitely a sort of connection between this film and this sort of minimalist existential works of Monty Hellman. Well, you listen to that. There's a lot of music used in this film that definitely sort of sets the scene, but there's also long moments of silence, which also, they work so well juxtaposed with that music. It's a vibe is what I'm talking about. It's a very specific vibe that's being created here. The film sort of opens with this sort of threat of violence and with this sort of thriller aesthetic. It could go down that route and be a very slick thriller, but it chooses not to. It chooses to lay back and ponder like Elliot Gould or Alain Delon. Or...
Didn't remember me though.
Or... It's a vibe thing. It's a vibe. And it just has a bit of a ponder. Why is this happening? Should this be happening? Is there anything I can do about it? Should I do anything about it? What's going on behind that beard? It adds a certain charm to proceedings, but also a horror, because the violence just sort of drifts past like a grocery shop or a sneeze. It's just life, isn't it, death? So the film does sort of drift along with this very laid-back vibe, just having a bit of a think about what's going on, and these characters are sort of working through their troubles very internally, but it never feels like it's completely rudderless, because it very cleverly has these scenes that sort of anchor it every now and again, where the main hitman visits a sort of AA meeting for hitmen, where they talk about their feelings and stuff like that, and it's quite absurd, but somehow the way it plays out, it's not. You know, it just works very well. I don't know why, and it gives that sense of structure to the film and makes it feel like it is going somewhere instead of just drifting. Which it is, and there's definitely high points, and there's visual moments and there's dramatic moments that occur throughout the film. It's not a film that just sits back and relaxes. There's a lot of creativity in there, but I think the beauty of the naturalistic dialogue is that, like I said, it doesn't go down the thriller route. It also doesn't go down the exposition route. It lets you just sort of settle into this world, and that's when you start to ponder things with the laid back nature and just start thinking what is going on, what is driving this man. And I think the brilliant thing about it is that it does sort of, as you're watching it, it does sort of become clear to you that this is a very sort of a universal film. It's about these men who are trying to sort of take the place of their father with their father not around, or without a father figure. Where do they exist? How do they do the right thing? Are they doing the right thing? It is a very universal theme and very relatable, but it's all filtered through this very specific lens that's full of character and confidence. The confidence in itself. And I think that this is what indie filmmaking should be. This is clearly the work of Dan Lotz. It couldn't be anyone else, even though I've alluded to these other films that were influences on it. It could only exist the way that he's done it and the way that he's improvised it. All those elements have come together and it all works very well. I don't know if that could work in a mainstream setting, because the sort of influences that I've talked about would have been pushed further, or someone would have said, oh, you need a clear thing, you need a clear structure, you need to do this, because the audience cards have said this, and blah, 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 and all these ticking boxes and stuff that would have made this not the film that it is. Instead of that, with the folk filmmaking thing, ideas have just been given straight to us and we watch them and enjoy them. Well, I enjoyed it anyway. I hope you do too. So that's Chlorine, my sort of entry into the folk filmmaking movement that hopefully is picking up speed now. I can't wait to watch the rest of the films and see. Dan Lotz has got a new film out. All the links will be below, as always. Check them out. We are the Don't Tell Show. Tell them we sent you if you do check them out. And we'll see you next Monday.